So Antonio Pierce earlier this week officially named his starting quarterback, and it is the former Indianapolis Colt and Jaguar, Gardner Minshew. Now, he didn't seem that pleased, especially with their performance after their 27-12 loss to Trey Lance, Cooper Rush, and the Dallas Cowboys. Take a listen to what Antonio Pierce thought of his two potential and now official starting quarterback.
Can't take one, you can't take the good and not take the bad, right? So wish it ended well for both gentlemen, right? And it just didn't, and we'll look at it, we'll evaluate. They both had opportunities. Aidan had 20 attempts, and Minshew had 21. So about as balanced and as we can get it, and we'll look at it. Obviously, you saw what our plan was tonight, throw the ball around, let these guys showcase what they can do, and we'll talk about it.
So do you think that Antonio Pierce made the right choice in Gardner Minshew over Aidan O'Connell?
I do, and it's not really that surprising. I mean, Gardner Minshew got a 2-year, $25 million contract. Aidan O'Connell's making $915,000 this year. So it doesn't hurt the Raiders' pocketbook to have him stand on the sidelines and watch for another year. Gardner Minshew didn't really excite and show much in the preseason, but he has played well in his time in the NFL in spurts. His record in the preseason so far, they lost. I think did they lose both preseason games?
Yes.
Yeah. They
24-23 to Minnesota.
Yeah. And he was 16 for 33, 212 yards, 1 TD. So it's not like he lit things up. But most starting quarterbacks don't play that much in the preseason. It's what they do in the practices. I think that the coaches make their decision about. And Pierce said there were a lot of factors that went into it. It wasn't just based on the second preseason performance. We feel Gardner gives us the best chance to get off to a fast start. It's Minshew's 6th NFL season. He was a Pro Bowler with the Colts last year, 305 for 490, 62.2% completion percentage, 3,305 yards, 15 TDs, 9 interceptions, 84.6 passer rating, not too bad. He also had 100 yards rushing, 3 TDs on 34 attempts. He was a 6th-round pick back in 2019 by the Jaguars, pick 178th. This was the second time that he'll be a starter. He was the starter his second year at the Jaguars. They had a horrible season that year. O'Connell did start the last 9 games last year after Josh McDaniel got ousted. And in the preseason, he's been 21 of 29, 172 yards, 1 TD, and 1 interception. He was given ample chance to retain his starting job. He just didn't play well enough. They call Minshew a free spirit, an enduring free spirit. He is playing in Las Vegas, so maybe he fits in there well. Over his career, he's been 15 and 22 in the games he started. The Raiders had the 27th ranked offensive last year, so he's got his work cut out for him.
I think that no matter what happened, no matter who the quarterback was, this is an utter tire fire. The Las Vegas Raiders, when's the last time they had an acceptable quarterback? Derek Carr?
Derek Carr was okay.
Although some people don't like Derek Carr.
He played well for them.
Some people don't like him, so let's go back. It for sure ain't Jamarcus Russell.
He was awful.
Rich Gannon?
He was good.
He was good.
He got to the Super Bowl with them.
I also believe he won an MVP, if I'm not mistaken. But is that the last acceptable Raiders quarterback? I think Derek Carr. I put him in a top 10 list 2 years ago. But I think some people don't think that he was good enough. And I think we're seeing with the Saints that he isn't that great.
No, he's not. He isn't playing well with them. He doesn't fit well with them at all.
I think overall, though, wouldn't have mattered. Raiders are an utter tire fire. Because it's Gardner Minshew or Aidan O'Connell. Those were the two choices. And if those are your two starting quarterback choices, the Raiders very well could be and should be and probably will be a top 3 pick. They very well could have the number 1 overall pick. And my guess is they're drafting a quarterback. Because Aidan O'Connell, miss. Derek Carr, let go. Jimmy G, what an experiment that was with Josh McDaniels. And now you got Gardner Minshew, who, you know what? Let's put a little bit of respect on his name. He had a 7-6 record with the Colts after Richardson went down. But so far, playing on the Raiders, this past preseason game, he went 10-21 for 95 yards. No touchdowns, but also no picks. So it's not horrible. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's the Las Vegas Raiders. And not only that, there is a very decent opportunity, and the report came out a couple weeks ago, that your star receiver, the one who wanted to team up with his former buddy at Fresno State, Derek Carr and Davante Adams, Adams might be, wanting to get on up out of here. That's a very good shot, especially if the Raiders go first 8 weeks and you're 2-6, 1-7. Because think about it. You go up against the Chargers, the Ravens, the Panthers, the Browns, the Broncos, Pittsburgh, Rams, Chiefs, Bengals, Miami, Denver, Kansas City, Tampa, Atlanta, Jacksonville, New Orleans, LA. Boy, it's a pretty difficult schedule. There's not a lot of wiggle room. There's not a lot of, take a nice breather. Bo Nix at least has a 4 or 5 game stretch where it's like, okay, I could settle in. I could finally throw the ball, efficiently enough to seem like it was worth picking me at number 12. But I think really, the number 8 overall pick of this year's draft screwed over the entire Raiders plan. As soon as the Falcons decide, you know what, we're going to draft for 3 years down the road, and it kind of left the Raiders in a precarious situation of, do we trade up past the Denver Broncos and get Bo Nix, or do we settle here and draft our second tight end in 3 years? They went with, let's draft our second tight end in 3 years. This isn't the 2011 Patriots. You don't have Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski. I think that's just straight up. Yes, and Brock Bowers was far and above the best tight end in this draft. It wasn't particularly close compared to, when they drafted Michael Mayer. And I'll say it, your 3 tight ends are not horrible. Harrison Bryant, Michael Mayer, and then Brock Bowers. We'll obviously have to see how Brock Bowers does in the NFL. But this is not exactly a strategy that's built for success. You let Josh Jacobs go. You didn't want to pay him, so you kicked him out the door, essentially. Now Zamir White is going to be your starting running back. Davante Adams, I think he's still a top 10 receiver when he has a quarterback that can throw the ball more than 6 yards down the field and also doesn't have 2 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. It was not good, not pretty at all. They also have Jacoby Myers, who I still think the Patriots were idiots to let go for $1 million less. For $1 million more, that the Raiders gave him. So I think no matter what happens, the Raiders are going to be one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NFL. They're going to be drafting a quarterback. Gardner Minshew will not be the starter next year, and Aidan O'Connell also will not be the starter next year.
What do you think?
This is a bad NFL team.
What does Davante Adams think right now? He's thinking, I'd like to be out of here. I'd like to be playing for the Jets. There was some talk about a deal getting done that he might be able to make it to the Jets. Yeah. Before the start of the season, that would happen just before the season started. We're in that mode. We're in that mode right now. Let's see what the third preseason game looks like, and then maybe there'll be some talk behind the scenes about Davante Adams headed to the Jets. I would love to see that, actually.
I think a lot of people would, because it's Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, Mike Williams, Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, a brand new top 5, top 10 offensive line that you built. And you have the number 1 graded defense from last year. Like, the Jets would probably be a top 3 team in the NFL with Davante Adams.
Yeah.
Like, that would be not even up for debate. And the people who are questioning, well, are the Jets going to be good, or is it going to be the classic old Jets? I think that kind of is like, no. This is probably the best Jets team in the history of the Jets when it comes to depth, level of talent, all around. So if that does happen, I think that the Jets would be a top 3 team in the NFL. I don't think it would be up for debate at all. And I would solidify my pick in choosing the Jets as the winner of the AFC East. And that would mean that they are one of the very few teams that are legitimate Super Bowl contenders that you could bet on and be like, I feel pretty good about it. Their odds would definitely increase significantly because it's not Garrett Wilson and then injury-prone Mike Williams. It would be Davante Adams, who literally the last year with Aaron and Davante together, it was, Davante's out there somewhere. Let me heave it to him and he'll probably come down with it. It's also the last time Aaron Rodgers was good. We haven't seen Aaron Rodgers at MVP level in a few years now. He
should play well, though. I mean, look at the talent around him.
I agree.
And the offensive line even better than it was last year. Hopefully they don't knock him out in the 4th play of the season this year.
Well, they shouldn't. Their offensive line is probably top 10, arguably top 5 in the NFL.
But it hasn't gelled. They haven't played together, though. They got to see whether they can gel.
Yeah, no, that's a fair criticism. But when it comes to this Raiders team, would you feel more comfortable saying, Aidan O'Connell out there? You know what? They'll win 7-8 games.
I don't think that. I agree with you. I think they could wind up with the first pick in the draft.
I think it's very likely it's going to be Panthers, Patriots, Raiders. Those three, and maybe I'll throw Cardinals in there. Those 4 teams are like, yeah, we got to think about serious rebuilding here. I think the Panthers, maybe not. Cardinals, maybe not. Raiders and Patriots, absolutely. 100%. You're thinking about, we got to start building for the next 5 years. Because people are going to be getting fired. We got rookies that are, or very, very young players we need to develop. Some of our staff might change. We got to figure this out because we are a bad football
Patriots traded
team.
away their best player. Well, arguably one of their best players.
Yeah, Mac Jones.
Matthew Judon.
No, Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think you're wrong there.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.